Hello artists! So today we're going to be learning a little bit about how to blend oil pastels. Let's take a look. So here I've just created with my piece of paper is I have my oil pastels out, and what I've done is just made some simple lines with my oil pastels. I also have this paper towel here off to the side. I've kept it flat because oil pastels tend to get all over your fingers really quickly, and sometimes they can leave fingerprints on your paper. So I don't want that on my paper, so I'm going to make sure that I'm covering up the parts of my paper I'm going to touch with my fingers. Alright, then I have torn off another small part of my paper towel, or gotten another one, so that I can blend with it. So right now, after creating these shapes and lines, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to kind of color the inside, show you how to blend a couple colors together. So the first thing I want to do is I make sure that every time I use my oil pastel that I clean it off. Sometimes they get things on them that you don't want, so like other colors. And then when I go to color it, I want to make sure that I am getting all the way up to the edge, close to the edge, not necessarily right on the edge, because what will happen is the green will get in the blue, and I don't want that. I want them to be two separate colors. But I want to make sure that I'm getting pretty good coverage here. And I'm going to take my purple and I'm going to blend it here. I'm going to put it kind of right next to it. I'm not going to go right on top of the green. Green and purple do not mix very well, and they make a brown color. I don't want that brown color, but I do want them right next to each other, so I'm going to put them right next to each other like that. Now, if I were going to use two colors that do blend well together, maybe like pink and red or pink and purple, then I could put those really close to each other. So I'm going to do some pink in this one over here, just like that. And notice I have my paper towel. If I need to scooch around my paper so that I can get all the colors, right? Or I can get all the way in here, then I should do that. Alright, I have one that I've already kind of started here, and I'm going to show you a little bit how to blend. So notice that I've got two different colors in most of these boxes, and right now I'm going to blend them. So there's two ways I can blend them. I can blend them with an oil pastel, but I could also use my paper towel. What I would do is I'd find an area of my paper towel that is kind of clean. I'd stick my finger in it, and then I go ahead and I would rub it to get a smeared look effect. Sometimes I get, in my smeared look, I get a what I call oil pastel boogers, and sometimes those just kind of happen. What I want to do with those, though, is instead of just brushing them off, I want to make sure that I'm removing them with my finger just by picking them up. If I put my finger on top, it'll just come right off. Whenever I move on to a new color of blending here, I'm going to go ahead and show you over here. I can turn my paper around. I'm going to move my paper towel so that my fingerprints don't get on my paper. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm smearing my oil pastels. Some boogers are going to come up, and that's okay. I can get those off later. I want to make sure I'm being pretty careful. Like, I'm going in different directions to get the kind of coverage I want. What I don't want is I don't want big white holes still with my smearing. I don't have to press very hard. And then with my boogers, what I can do is I can just take my finger and I can get them off like this. Maybe I rub them on my clean paper towel over here. There we go. Alright, I'm going to do one more. Notice I'm turning my paper around so that I don't get my fingerprints on it. I'm making sure I get my fingers down. I'm also making sure I'm finding a kind of clean place on my paper towel here. If I don't have a clean place, I should go get a new paper towel. And again, I'm just going to kind of rub these kind of together. You can do this with your finger and not the paper towel. Sometimes that's harder, though, because your fingers get dirty really fast, and you would have to go make sure that your fingers are clean quite a lot. And again, I have some boogers on here. That's okay. I am going to make sure that I get them off. if I wanted some details on top of this, like I have my base color, my background color here, if I were to go through and do this whole thing and smear all of these parts, but now let's say I want to add a face on top. So with this, maybe what I do once I have my background color is I could add in a eyeball. So I'm going to go take my black here, I'm going to make sure I clean it off, and I can add details on top with my other oil pastels. So maybe my eye for my face is kind of different and abstract, right? I can add different colors on top, just like that. Maybe I'm going to add some other line details on my background colors, like that or like that. Once I've gotten on my details, I want to make sure, that my background is done before the details on top, because once my details are on top, I can't go back and smear my background. Then I would get, in this case, I would get my black everywhere. Happy experimenting!